Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
The Diddy trial is upon us. Opening statements Monday. They will pick a jury on Monday. It'll be done quickly. And you will hear then the prosecutor, or we will tell you because there's no audio or visual inside the courtroom. We'll let you know what prosecutors, how they lay out their case and how the defense lays out its side. But what was announced today in court is there is a new alleged victim, but it's not necessarily what you think.
Victim 5 is how the government refers to this person, someone that they want to testify against Diddy. But it's not a victim of the crimes that he is facing in this trial.
There are 4 alleged victims for which Diddy is accused of violating the law. 4 of them, 3 ex-girlfriends, 1 ex-employee. This person is not somebody where Diddy is charged with assaulting her or committing any crime against her. This is somebody who is going to testify, according to prosecutors, that this is Diddy's MO. Yeah. This is the way he operates.
That's exactly right. This is being referred to as victim number 5. It's not with respect to the charge offenses. It's what's called a prior bad acts or an MO witness under the rules of evidence. And they are going to allow her to testify in this trial. However, Judge Subramanian did say something interesting. He's not going to afford anonymity to this witness. So we'll have to see if that witness does take the stand. We're going to see who exactly that is.
The fact that they were asking for the anonymity makes me feel that that's something she wanted.
Probably.
Now, did she want, is she, now that she's not
Is it a deal breaker?
Is it a deal breaker
I don't
for her?
know.
I mean, I'm sure prosecutors are going to be trying to convince her to still testify even without the anonymity.
But the bigger thing, actually, is we thought today prosecutors were going to talk in open court about victim number 3, because she is the person who has not cooperating with the prosecution, does not want to testify.
At this stage, it appears she will not be there to testify.
They say,
even the prosecutors say that they have not been able
to find her,
get in touch with her, because
nor her lawyer.
Right.
And we're going to get into our Tubi documentary and our Tubi weekly show in a minute. But this comes up in the Tubi show because there are some people who feel, and we can't support this, but you will hear this on the Tubi show, she was paid off. That she made some kind of a deal.
That's the conspiracy theory. When a witness suddenly
disappears
and says they're not going to testify, that's what everyone thinks.
Now, the other thing that is really interesting that happened in court today is that the defense talked about the relationship between Diddy and Cassie, because
this is actually an exchange that happened late yesterday in court.
Yes. And this is really revolving around the Cassie video.
Because you can tell that the defense, we've said this all along, this is going to be the incredible mountain that the defense has to somehow get over, this video and what it means about the relationship between Cassie and Diddy. Now, the exchange between the prosecutor and Diddy's defense was all about violence in that relationship. And what Diddy's defense, what they said in court, is that this was a violent relationship and that
mutual.
Exactly, that Cassie had also struck him on other occasions. So it seems like that's what they're going to get into. And the judge said, look, if you, the prosecutors, bring up any of Cassie's medical injuries, then you are opening the door to cross-examination where they can bring up mutual combat.
I got to tell you something. I think this is a big mistake. This is just my opinion, but he's not being charged with the beating. What he has to do is get over the optics for a jury where the jury is saying, this is a violent, brutal man. Look at what he did to her. You know, what we thought they were going to do and what they had said earlier that they were going to do, in fact, Mark Agnifilo said it, was we're going to be harder on Diddy than the prosecution is and say this is deplorable, it's despicable, it is awful, we have no defense to it. If it feels like, if this feels like this is a defense to what he did, you're looking at a large man and a small woman, and a woman who on the stand is extremely pregnant.
Yep.
That is playing with fire. So every week, every Thursday night, we're going to drop a new episode. It's called TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs Inside the Diddy Trial, where we have kind of the inside strategies that we're hearing about, the scoop, even the gossip around the trial. We did our first one that dropped last night with Nancy Grace there. You see Mark Garagos, Ebony K. Williams, and Ashley Banfield from News Nation. And I got to say, they were amazing. I mean, they had such interesting things to say. But we've talked about Mark Garagos, who got in trouble with the judge.
Is he or isn't he?
Is he on
He got in trouble with the judge because the prosecutors believe he is working on Diddy's defense.
And he said something on our Two Angry Men podcast calling the prosecutors six-pack of white women, which really pissed them off and pissed the judge off. So we got into that on the Tubi show. Is the judge viewing you as a member of the defense team? Because you have been all over that courthouse this week. And are you on the Diddy defense team? Because I can't get a straight answer from you.
Right, and I'm not going to engage with you on that, especially when in full disclosure, before we started this about 15 minutes ago, you said I could not give you a history of the law in this area. So then to ask me the question after you made me promise I wasn't going to mention Shepard versus Maxwell.
Oh, God. I sat behind Garagos. He was on the in the gallery on the pew that they had set up for people associated with the defense. I saw Mark and his daughter down in the cafeteria on the 8th floor. By the way, Mark likes to drink, it looks like Perrier water or sparkling water. Mark also was the center of attention in the 8th floor cafeteria during lunch, where the entire defense team had taken over the middle of the room, 2 tables. All of them were on their phones.
I sound like you're part of the defense team to me.
I don't know, Harvey, just look at him. It looks to me like he's given up law and he's going into medicine.
Yeah, it's true.
Here's what I love about this panel that you've set up. We are really holding Garagos' feet to the fire because he's a guy who can talk a blue streak. He can talk around issues. He's a very skilled lawyer. And we had someone who said, no, I saw you in the courtroom. I saw what you were doing. You also have Nancy Grace, who's a former prosecutor, holding his feet to the fire. You've got people who say, like, look, you look like you're in scrubs. I love the sort of makeup of the panel, and you're really getting sort of a sense of the behind the scenes.
Well, we're going to do it every Thursday night. It's a series during the trial that will last until the verdict. Again, it is called TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs Inside the Diddy Trial. It is available now free on Tubi.
Anya in Kansas City. You know, as we get closer to the trial, I do find it interesting, the Cassie incident notwithstanding, I do see the kind of public tides turning just a little bit as we learn more about who's accusing him of what and hear his evidence and hear his rebuttal. I honestly think this trial could end in a surprising way that many didn't assume it would end when it first began.
Well, we've seen it in many other trials before where you think it's going to go one way and it doesn't. Okay, we're moving on.
Yes.
Let's go to Rome. Let's go to the Vatican.
Let's go to the Vatican, where, you know, of course, that Pope Leo XIV was introduced to the world yesterday. And what we have now learned is in that crowd of humanity inside St. Peter's Square waiting for his introduction was one Harry Styles. Just, you know, like every other tourist there, every believer waiting to see the new Pope. Kind of incognito,
I
but
didn't realize he was so tall.
yeah, no, Harry's
Did not know that.
But I mean, I don't know how tall the people are next.
Well, they're not like.
I don't know, but I guess I wouldn't notice him if you weren't looking out for him in that context.
Well, who's looking at the crowd? You're looking at
right
the
past
Pope.
him. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's looking up at the balcony.
The girl that saw him has to be a die-hard One Direction fan, because if I was there and I saw this tall white man with a baseball cap and a mustache, there's no way that I would know that was Harry Styles.
I would never know.
And on top of that, I really wouldn't think it's Harry, because Harry's not known to be a super religious person. I think he's talked about being spiritual, but as far as religious, I've never known him to be a super religious person. The only thing I can think of is this is a historic moment. It is cool to be able to say that you were there for this moment, but other than that, I would have never noticed Harry.
Well, speaking of super religious people, it turns out the Pope is a baseball fan.
Yeah, I don't know, spooky super religious.
Well, she said.
Well, yes, the Pope obviously is super
religious.
religious. And you know that as the first American Pope, he's from Chicago and grew up a White Sox fan. And the Chicago Sun-Times got this very cool photo showing him back in 2005 when the White Sox were in the World Series. He was at the stadium watching one of the games, and I've just never seen. Think about it, we've never seen a
He
photo
looks out of
of
uniform.
a Pope just chilling out of uniform, exactly at a.
I love it.
At a baseball game.
It's really fascinating when
the fact that his background is so different from any
so
other Pope.
different, and to hear a homily in English and the whole thing, I'm just so worried that Rome is going to start serving deep dish pizzas.
No, get out here. They are
it is.
They are not.
I had dreams about that.
Listen, no, that's not going to happen. Italy would not allow it.
This is Donnie from Chicago, Illinois. I will say they're going to start serving deep dish pizzas. I hope soon there. You know, I wish the Pope was a Cubs fan, but he's a White Sox fan, which is okay. You know, I'm just glad to see that the Pope is down to earth and attending baseball games, because you guys know we normally see popes. They always, you know, walking in the air, pretty much gliding across the air, not even walking, you know, heaven on earth. So I'm glad that he got a human side. So it was good to see that. And as far as Harry Styles, I don't know. Maybe he was just there to steal some thunder from the Pope.
I think he was trying to go undercover. I think it was a rare moment where he could blend.
Yeah, and it was a moment he was like, I'm not going to miss this. Maybe he's just in Rome for something else and decided
Of
I
course.
could be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, taking a break.
All right. When we come back, Kanye going to war with Kim over their kids. He's sent her a very angry letter having to do with North at the Met Gala and how he claims she was treated that night. Also very interesting, Bianca is part of this also. What standing she has in a child custody battle with Kim, we'll get into that when we come back. Well, Kim Kardashian's got options here. Options about what to be outraged about.
I didn't know where you were going.
The
That's
fact that Kanye West has sent her a cease and desist letter alleging all sorts of things about their kids, Kim's treatment of the kids, and his access to the kids.
Alleged neglect?
Yes. So there's that. And then there's also the fact that Bianca Censori is now signing on with this and is
she is part of the cease and desist letter.
Yes.
Kanye and Bianca are alleging that Kim is a negligent parent who is keeping the kids from them.
Yeah, so we got this cease and desist letter. We broke the story this morning. A cease and desist letter sent by Kanye and Bianca, sent by their attorney that they've hired, sent to Kim's attorney, Laura Wasser. And in this letter, there are three major things.
Can you actually read that?
Yes, we represent Mr. Kanye West and Ms. Bianca Censori in family law matters concerned. I'm not going to do the whole
No, you don't have to. I just can't read a word of it on the screen. Okay, go on.
It's okay, man. You know what? This is so great. You make me feel young. It's great. Appreciate it. But yes, the things they are alleging in this letter, the first thing has to do with the Met Gala on Monday. And in the letter, they say that Kim left North alone for portions of the evening in a vehicle. That while, what they say in the letter is while Kim was walking around in the Met Gala showing off her dress, her fashion, North was just sitting in a car unattended, they say. Now,
that seems,
again,
very hard to believe.
It seems very hard to believe that Kim would just leave North by herself.
First of all, you can't park at the Met Gala. So, I'm serious. So there's got to be a driver in that car.
Right.
Anywho.
Exactly.
So that's
least one thing. The other thing that they are upset about is they say that Kim continues to put images of North on TikTok. And this might be a reference to the Met Gala as well, because that night they did post a TikTok together showing them getting ready.
So here's the thing about that. So Kanye thinks she crossed the line by doing that they want to keep the kid private. Kanye, a month ago, has North record a song with Diddy on it, with the Tate brothers at the studio. And then Kim calls and says, do not release the song. Kanye agrees and then releases it anyway.
And released it anyway. So, right. But that's his allegation here.
Well, that's rich.
That Kim is profiting. In fact, he says that she is exploiting, is the word that they use in the letter, exploiting North when he has expressly said he does not want that to happen. That's complaint number two. The third thing he says is that he does not have access to his kids in a meaningful way, and claims that he hasn't seen Saint at all this year.
Ain't true.
It's just not true. We all have eyes, and we've seen the photos of him with all of the three youngest kids back in January when they went to visit him in Japan.
But here's the reality. The reality is this. Kanye almost never asks to see the kids. And I'm not just saying that to say it. We know it. And that's been something that's kind of gone back and forth, where she said, look, I will not deny him access to the kids. He just doesn't ask. And, you know, he's been overseas. He hasn't really been present there.
But she's never denied him access to the kids ever since they split up.
But the idea of Bianca signing on to this.
That's the one that just might get under Kim's skin a little.
There's so many strange things about this letter. It was sent from a lawyer in Barcelona. It was sent on behalf of both Kanye and Bianca. It lists things that are demonstrably untrue in the letter, specifically that he hasn't seen his kids and whatnot. It makes this weird claim about her being unattended in a car, which I think we all really look at with a jaundiced eye. We don't really think this 11-year-old was left in a parking garage by herself.
That's not something we've seen Kim.
No.
That would be so...
You can say what you want about Kim and the whole thing, but she's a great mom. It just seems so odd.
My name is Mariam Sayed. I'm from Egypt, Cairo. And also I think that Kanye West doesn't deserve to protect the kids. And actually, Kim Kardashian should be with the kids. It's more safer.
And she is.
By the way, legally, they have shared custody. They don't have a time split or anything, but
she has the kids almost all the time.
Right.
Period. Moving on.
All right. Moving on to Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson.
The most entertaining story of the year.
Very, very entertaining couple, we'll say that. But some folks at University of North Carolina, where he is the head coach of the football team, not happy with Jordan Hudson. According to Pablo Torre, used to be at ESPN, independent now, but he published a story where he said that there were people at UNC who have now banned Jordan Hudson from the football practices and
just
facilities.
So you know, and the backdrop here is that she did the CBS interview, where a lot of people said she was intermeddling, she was overstepping, she was stopping things.
And that there were concerns that she would be meddling with football operations at UNC.
Right.
Here's how Pablo laid it out, and then we will tell you what UNC is saying.
Two sources at the University of North Carolina tell me that there has been a decision, it was made last week, by the higher-ups inside the athletic department that had hired Bill Belichick to be the highest paid public employee, not just coach, in the state of North Carolina at $10 million a year. And that decision was that Jordan Hudson is no longer allowed in the football building.
Okay.
She is not allowed on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, don't think you'll be hearing much from Jordan moving forward.
Well,
I think they're wrong. Pablo's wrong here, because UNC has now come out since this report was all over the place, everyone talking about it, and they say, nope, she's not banned. And they even point out, guys, that, and here's what they say, I'll read it. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand.
Wow.
So nothing to do with UNC, anything else. Jordan's running the show.
I don't know, Mike, you tell me, this doesn't necessarily mean that Pablo's report was incorrect.
Right, they could have changed her.
And in fact, since UNC put out that statement, he has been on social media saying, look, I stand by my sources, I stand by my reporting, and it certainly may be that his sources and his reporting is accurate.
Oh, yeah.
And they just decided after the fact.
Or Bill Belichick
because
said,
they never responded to him, he said.
Right.
Or Bill Belichick said, hey, if that's true, stop it.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'm out. I will not coach this football team if this is the case. And I think then they would definitely relent. I did think initially it was strange, though, because that is a really aggressive step that the school would have been taking.
Yeah.
And to do that to someone like Bill Belichick, who might be the most influential and powerful coach.
Yeah, it seems weird.
Know.
It does seem weird. Okay, got to take a break.
$10 million a year he's getting.
Is that what he's getting? Wow. He could almost pay off all the college debt.
All right, when we come back, scary moment yet again at Newark Airport. Another 90-second outage. No radar, communications crippled. What in the world do you do if you're a pilot flying into Newark? Because it's happening as we speak. What do you do when this breaks down? We're going to be joined by Tom Manello, a former United pilot who has flown into Newark and has dealt with this.
everything. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
I got to tell you, if I were on a flight going into Newark Airport, I don't think I would do it right now.
I'm going to be honest. I would not do it.
Yet another outage early this morning at Newark.
This has got to be
90-second outage.
I think it's 4.
Yeah.
Because they had 3. This is 4.
Again, 90 seconds, lost radar, lost all communications.
Radar and audio.
This is just a snippet of one panicked moment with air traffic control as they're trying to figure out what to do.
FedEx 1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff. New York departure now, 120.8.
120.8, sorry to hear about that. FedEx 1989, switching, good luck guys.
The fact that this controller was angry enough and appropriately angry enough to say, something.
Let your employer
Please
know.
do something. Let your employer know.
Because this is going to be a disaster at some point.
This is stunning.
So this, like we said, has been happening now multiple times. What is, aside from clearly there needs to be some repair to the infrastructure, what do pilots and passengers do in the interim?
And should they be worried?
Joining us right now is former United pilot Tom Manello, who has flown in and out of Newark countless times. Tom, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Tom, we want to take your temperature on this. This is 4th outage that we know of, and the system is archaic. Newark is a mess. Is it safe to fly in and out of Newark? What do you think about all of this?
At best, I would say it's marginally safe to go in there under the conditions they're operating on. The weather's been bad on the East Coast, number one. They are doing construction, and during a number of hours during the day or all day, I'm not sure, one of the runways, or one of the primary runways is closed, which adds stress to the overall system. The air traffic control staffing is people in the tower and approach controls, they are understaffed there. And they're obviously listening to the news reports. They're overstressed. It is not a good situation. Sadly, it started a long time ago, and nothing has been done about it. And it's indicative of a lot of other places also, I think, in the system. I think Washington National falls into that category of being a place I really wouldn't be happy going into.
Tom, I know that if I were a passenger on a plane where this happened, and I would imagine the passengers probably don't know that it's happening at the time. So I know as a passenger I would be panicked. As a pilot, when you hear this and you know that this is happening, what is your experience? Have you experienced this flying into Newark?
Not into Newark. I think every pilot that's had flown for the number of years that I've had has had radio outages or experienced brief radar outages, but not consistently at one airport. It's somewhat of a random thing. We have procedures we are trained for to handle the situation, but it makes this situation much less safe and much it simply gets confusing and complicated.
Tom, I'm curious. In that 90 seconds, 90 seconds is I'd imagine you can cover a lot of distance.
You're going 500 miles an hour.
What do you do when there's no radar? What is the protocol? Do you just stay at your same altitude, and are you going in a circle? Are you just continue straight? What do you do?
Okay, that's an excellent question. And you would normally fly your last clearance. If you've ever listened to air traffic control, they'll tell pilots.
Channel 9. Channel 9.
Get in line. Maintain an altitude, say, of 5,000 feet. Well, your first requirement as a pilot is to maintain that clearance. However, let's say you're in Denver and there's 10,000-foot mountains around you.
Right, right.
Going at the speeds you're talking about. Then you need to have awareness of where you are and say the minimum safe altitude I need to be at is 11,000 feet. So even though nobody's talking to me and I don't have clearance to do it, I'm not going to fly into a mountain. I'm going to climb to a safe altitude, which is, to maintain a safe altitude is the next, obviously not the next, but it's the most important thing that you need to do. And it's the same thing with the route. You're going to fly on your last clearance. If they told you expect a turn here and you can't hear them, then you turn at that expected clearance. There are set procedures like that, but again, you're dealing with what you think is a radial failure and trying to look at the system, and it complicates matters considerably.
Wow. It's a frightening picture, Tom, but thank you. We really appreciate you painting it.
Well, look, I still have faith in the system. I'm flying on a trip next month as a passenger. I hope things get better, but if I know our government's trying to cut costs, but in this area of air traffic control and improve technology, they need to spend a little extra money and get the system back to where it was.
They need to spend a lot.
This is money well spent.
Okay,
Thank you
Tom.
so much, Tom.
Great talking to you.
All right, thank you.
I got to tell you something. Just on the political side, the Trump people are blaming on Biden. But it's like
it's been going on, so it's not one party.
It's Biden. It's Trump in the first term. It's Clinton. It's Bush. It's all of them. This has been going on. Obama. It's been going on for decades. Yeah. And it's taking these cataclysmic events for people to open their eyes, and now they're scared because of the blowback. Yeah. It's crazy. Taking a break.
All right. When we come back, forget the Knicks. How about Blake Lively packing them into Madison Square Garden? That's what Justin Baldoni's attorney wants to see happen. A live deposition of Blake Lively? Wow. Just when you thought this circus couldn't get more circusy. Welcome back to TMZ Live. The battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni for the last almost 6 months. Well, I mean, it got legal 6 months ago.
It got real 6 months ago.
But they've been battling for more than a year now. But now, as much of a media circus as it has been with all of the filings, with all of the allegations going back and forth, multiple lawsuits.
It's now becoming a sporting event.
It is absolutely a sporting event, and that means you go to the greatest sporting arena in the world.
MSG.
At least that's what New Yorkers say. Madison Square Garden. That is where Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, would like to go head-to-head with one Blake Lively.
Deposing her before the throngs of people
I mean, I
at
don't
Madison.
know if there'd be throngs, but...
Oh,
actually...
There would be... It would sell
you're not
out,
getting
Charles.
19,000 people.
Charles?
You really...
Charles?
Stop it.
I swear, I would bet on this.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, here is the challenge as laid out by Brian Friedman. He said, if Blake Lively is really serious about testifying for the world to see, let's live stream it in Madison Square Garden and give the money to the domestic violence survivors.
So,
he tried to sort of...
I want to make a point to you. Mm-hmm. I think if I were on the jury panel for Diddy,
right,
I'd get on that jury. Because one of the things they would ask is, can you give an example of something where you really believed it but changed your mind? Mm-hmm. I can give an example right now. I said on this show over and over and over, this case is never going to trial.
Right.
It will never go to trial.
Right.
I changed my mind.
You think it now...
I don't
Everything you're hearing makes you feel like...
How can either one of them cave at this point?
Right. How can they back down?
How can they back down? It doesn't make sense.
The only way they can back down is a complete mutual agreement that we're walking away and nobody's going to say anything.
But I don't see it. Do you?
I don't see it happening either, but God, there's no way. There's still a long time before this.
I understand. But
I think it's important to also note that Blake's team has actually responded. Her lawyers are slamming Brian Friedman. They're saying that this is a very serious situation, serious allegations, saying that this is not a publicity stunt. But in my opinion, look at all the things that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have been doing just in the last few months. All these highly publicized cute date nights, the Time 100, the donut shop.
Well, I mean, those are events in their lives. You can't, I mean.
The reality is, if one side goes to the other and says, do you want to settle? The other side has a press conference and says, they
You won't believe what they did.
They folded. And I don't think either side now is going to do something like that.
We need someone to step in, like, I don't know, some
Judge
ambassador.
Judy? Some ambassador?
Yes.
Hey, I'm Charles Perala from Rock Hill, New York. And one thing I want to say here is Justin Baldoni's lawyer just showed what this all is. It's not a legal case. This is a wrestling match. And right now, it's not about who's right. It's not if Justin's right. If not, it's Blake right. They're just trying to win the public to save their careers. And at this point in time, they know Blake Lively's not great at interviews. They know the lawyer can beat her in this case. And at this point, they know she's going to say no. So this is going to make it look like she's hiding something.
Well, and in addition to that,
he nailed it.
No, he did.
That's exactly the thought process.
He did, but in addition to that, I'll tell you, when both of them sit for depositions, they're going to be videotaped. You know they're going to leak.
That's if they're going to figure out a settlement, it's got to happen before deposition day.
100%.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, and by the way, if you think that it is impossible for a peace treaty to be reached, we give you Exhibit A. Farrah Abraham and Janelle Evans, the teen mom feud that's been going on for almost as long as TMZ has existed.
They're 63 now.
But they broke bread. Well, tacos, really, in Las Vegas.
Honestly, I think it's great to see them burying the hatchet, just putting the past in the past. The kids are growing up, they're growing up, and also just for work purposes, I think it's great because no one really wants to work with someone they hate. So it's nice to see them bonding over some food in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd ever see the day, but it happens. See?
See?
I mean, how long the peace treaty lasts is another thing. I mean.
Well, it's true. They might just be doing this. So, okay, let's just have a peace treaty so we can get back in the news.
Yes, it could be that. And then if you have too many margaritas, who knows what happens. By the way, we should say, Alea, thank you. I know this is the last day of your internship.
She is a TMZ intern.
And how would you rate the experience?
And remember,
you're not talking to us. Don't worry about it.
No, you are.
I've loved my time here so much. Everyone on the news desk has been so helpful and answering like my billion questions. I've gotten to pitch stories and like do my own exclusives, see them kind of start to end. So it's honestly been the best time. And I'm really happy because I get to come back next semester and intern again.
Look at that. Coming back for more.
How about that?
Excellent. She has been tremendous.
You know the words, right? Glutton for punishment. Okay.
Listen, we're trying to sell this here. Don't say that.
Okay, we got to take a break.
All right, when we come back, speaking of graduates, turns out graduates these days think they're going to be making big money, 6 figures, right out of school. Yeah, rude awakening coming your way, kids. Damon John's going to be here to follow money about what you actually can make and maybe a better alternative to 4 years of college. Ambition is a great thing, right? We always encourage people to be ambitious.
Absolutely.
A recent survey said that Gen Z, on average, they expect, once they graduate college, to be making, right out of college, $100,000.
Yeah, and Gen Z, I also expected to be 6'1".
And, sometimes you come up a little short. The actual median salary is about $68,000. There's a big gap there, and I think there's, I don't know. So I think some kids are in for a rude awakening.
These are kids thinking, oh, you're an influencer, you can wake up, you do a video, you make a couple $100,000 a year.
Well, look, is there a way for him to close the gap, or should they just sort of lower expectations, at least at the outset of their careers? Joining us right now to follow the money, as we do every week, is our good buddy Damon John. Damon, welcome back. Wow, I think we got to give people a reality check here, right?
Yeah, I think that first of all, I want to get into something that Harv has really been the one who pushed me on. I want to get into the fact that there is always a need for higher education. I'm here at John Jay College right now, working with New York City Public Schools to help educate certain people. So I'm a full out. I really trust that we all need higher education, but maybe trade schools may be the one, because Harvard's the one who put me on this, that they need to consider. Because you know what? When you think about it, you get out of trade school, you can go get out of high school, have zero debt for college, and get paid to go to trade school and make $70,000 without putting in 4 years. That's when you first get in, and you probably have a career that will go on to making $200,000.
So, Damon, you know, trade school is one option, but look, there are a lot of people who are going to go to a 4-year college, get their degree, and come out.
Which is useful, too.
Which is very useful, depending on what you want to do. But, you know, starting out at $68,000, $70,000 is not bad. And I think maybe we just need to reset. Why are they so off? What is it that is making them feel like $100,000 is just where you start out? And I think we all know
it's them not really, you know,
that
as
ain't
much
it.
as they're going to college, they're not doing their homework and understanding what is really the market share out there. Now, trust me, please go to college, go to a university if you're going to be a surgeon and doing open heart surgery on people.
Exactly.
Don't become an intern. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of opportunity out there, but they're just not being realistic. It is an investment like anything else, but you need to understand and you need to know that you're also going to have that debt, that student debt. And that's why I love the fact that when, you know, Charles, you are always talking about trade. And I think you can even do that also. And listen, bust your butt like I did, you know. Go to college at night, work a trade during the day, make the money. You know, my buddy Matt Eber from Crash Champions says that he's like the king of trade school education. There's so many different trades going around. And I know that I'm the first person to talk about AI and automated vehicles coming around, autonomous vehicles. But by the way, there's 16 million vehicles being bought every year here in this country. They all need fixing, right? So it's going to take a while for us to move to some of that stuff. And these trades working on these vehicles, these things become $200,000, $250,000 jobs annually.
If you go to college, you could also, $70,000 to $100,000, you can make up that gap with a side hustler, right? I mean, depending on what your job is that you're doing when you get out of school, there are other, you can have, as you know, now you can do rideshare driving or something if you want to make a little bit more money, but you know, I don't think that it's the end of the world.
Listen, if you're paying more because you're going to be, listen, an average kid does not pay off their student debt until in their 40s, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to go to college so you can help people and you can empower yourselves, right? So, I mean, think about it like that. And maybe, you know, it is a bad environment where people think they can make money off of TikTok. But I got to tell you, if you're starting in high school making $70,000 a year with no debt, well, there's a lot to dance to on TikTok.
Well, and it's not just that. Because AI is so prevalent right now and is exploding, that you may be in a situation where you go to college with a trajectory in your head of where you want to be in 4 years, and in 4 years, the job doesn't exist because it's taken over by AI. With trade school, you can really gauge it in a more compressed way to know there's a job at the end of the tunnel.
That is a powerful, powerful point, because the president of my company said that he went to school and they were talking about being, what was it, a writer, a journalist. And at that time, the professor didn't realize that, you know, we're creating this information to come out in a month. There was something came out called Twitter and Facebook and, you know, TMZ, and that information was out in a week. What are you making for a month from now, right?
Exactly.
So if you're going to college for something that may be displaced, you know, in another couple of years, then what do you do then? And that's a really powerful point I never thought about.
Well, I'm here to help you.
All right.
This is interesting. This is really interesting.
By the way, I just want to throw this in.
Learn a trade, because that will be with you for the rest of your life, and the trades will grow as AI grows, right? The college education, which I'm a full believer that you need a higher education, I don't know if it will grow with you and with AI.
You know what grows with college? Your mind. And it really does.
If you're going to 4-year college, it's fine. Just be realistic.
Right.
Because there are great advantages
there's a price to pay.
And there's a price to pay. Harvard's not bad either.
Love talking to you. Love talking to you.
All right, guys.
Okay.
All right.
We are going to take a break.
When we come back, Ben Affleck and his status as perhaps the most eligible bachelor in Hollywood.
One of the best exchanges between a photog and a star.
Si, senor, si. Ben Affleck is famous for his RBF, resting bent face. Not generally the most joyous guy when he's out in public.
And never interacts with paparazzi. I got to say, mad respect for this photog.
Yes, because...
So we should, I'm not sure what the clip is. When Ben walks into a restaurant.
Yes.
And the photog asks him a question in English about how single life is, right?
And he just kind of goes,
and he walks in. So he's thinking, what do I do to get him to talk when he comes out? This is what he did.
Congratulations on the movie, Ben.
Oh, thank you.
¿Cómo se siente el soltero más codiciado de Hollywood?
Muy bien, muy bien.
¿Todavía te gustan las latinas, Ben?
Sí, por supuesto que sí.
Gracias, Ben. Good night.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
See, he still loves Latinas.
Brilliant.
Yes, to do it in Spanish. Ben is famously fluent in Spanish, and so
that was brilliant.
Hit him with that. Suddenly, he laughed. He's
Honest
like, all right.
God, he was in.
Even Ben was saying, good job.
Also remember that he dated Ana de Armas and he was married to J-Lo, so he's had some experience in that realm for sure.
And again, we expected you to do it in Spanish.
Yeah, you're my assistant, and I know you speak Spanish, so say what you just said in Spanish.
Estaba casado con Jennifer López y su novia por un tiempo era Ana de Armas.
Okay.
You know what? He nailed it. I know this.
You didn't seem impressed, Harvey.
But you know what? Because he didn't understand it. I did.
Totally understand it. What are you talking about?
I'm on day 242 of Duolingo.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to do Hola Paco, que tal, como está? Muy bien, ¿y tú? Pablo está bien, pero Luisa tiene catarro. Qué lástima, lo siento. Ojalá que se mejore pronto. Really? 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 Really?
Hey, it's Denisha Valentine based out of Orlando, Florida. And when it comes to Ben, he is currently in his 50s. He's still attractive and he's very single. So at this point, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We've seen his track record. We know who he's dated. Ben is confident. So if he loves Latina women, I see nothing wrong with this. Shout outs to Ben.
Ain't a damn thing wrong with that.
Recuerdos a todos. We're taking a break.
Thank God. When we come back, Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner at an event where he was honored. Great moment for Timothy, and he went to share it with Kylie, or Kylie went to share it with him, and somebody got swerved. You'll see it when we come back. Extremely awkward moment here that you're about to see between Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. And some people think that this is a devastating blow to Kylie's ego. I agree with you. I don't see it that way, but here's what happened there in Rome. Timothy was being honored for his acting. He got the David Di Donatello Award. And as he was going up to accept, well, here's how it played out.
Timothée Chalamet.
You almost wouldn't notice it, except that everyone in the office here thinks that this is
not a big deal.
He turned and shared it with her. He gives her a kiss right on the lips.
Okay,
right?
so she thought she would do it again, but here's what I want to know. They're in Rome. Why didn't they go see the Pope? The Pope. Oh my God, there's Kylie.
Okay. Sacrilege to end the week.
We'll see you. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you Monday.